snacks.
What's going on, everybody? Your boy Sin back to continue celebrating love with an anime this month. So I say let's not waste no time. Let's get right into it with the third show we're going to talk about during this miniseries here, which is Say I Love You. So like we've done with the past two, let's just get into this first episode, break it down so you all can understand what the show is actually about. The show revolves around a young lady named May, who for about the past 16 years, she has been alone. She's decided to be alone. She doesn't want a boyfriend. She doesn't want friends. She wants nothing to do with that because of something that happened in her past. And friends kind of threw her on the bus, turned against her. She's like, that hurts so much. Never again. I'm never going through that. I'd rather just be alone and keep this streak of being alone going. Right? So, introduce our male protagonist, Kurosawa. He is pretty boy supreme. Like, everybody in high school, women, are all over this dude. Constantly has a flock of women coming to him, want to go out with him, want to kiss him, the whole 9 yards. So in the hallway one day, him and his best friend are having a conversation, and his friend is a straight perv, for lack of better words. And I think her name was Asawa, something like that, if I'm right. If I'm pronouncing it wrong, I'm sorry. But she's a friend of theirs that has noticeably a very big chest. And he's always throwing himself at her. He's want to touch your breasts, you know what I'm saying? I love you so much, yada, yada, yada. And as he's explaining all this to Kurosawa, who does he run into? Like, literally. Is that going to be the theme of everything? Is that going to be the theme of the next week? That's how everybody meets, just collisions in Japan? Like, but whatever. Point is, they run into each other, and as he goes to kind of like help her up, she turns around and gives him like a death stare, and then gets up and walks off. And Kurosawa is sitting there staring at her like, oh my God, who is that? He's like, oh, her, that's May. She's weird. She's a loner. I've never even heard this chick speak before. Like, whatever with her. So, day goes on. And, as always, Kurosawa surrounded by a bunch of girls. They're hanging out by the steps. And Perv Boy, once again, he's looking up girl skirts. He sees this girl going up the skirt. He's like, ooh, she's got a mid-length skirt on, yada, yada. He goes to peek under it. He goes to reach the peek under it. Realizes it's May. Kurosawa comes over there. He's like, look, excuse him. He doesn't mean any harm. He's just like that. And she turns around and roundhouse kicks the daylight of him down the steps. She hits Kurosawa. She didn't hit the one that actually did it. She knocks him down the steps, turns around, cusses everybody out, leaves. Of course, all the girls there are all bitching and moaning. You know, like, oh, how can she do that? Oh, who she thinks she is, yada, yada. He's sitting there laughing, and he enjoyed it. So he now starts kind of like following her, like looking for her around school, and kind of like, as she would probably say, pestering her almost. Like, you know, I want to hang out, and I'm digging you, and why don't we exchange numbers? Like, why would I exchange numbers with you? Like, I don't want to deal with people. I don't like people. Like, you know, kind of leave me alone. And he doesn't. And she even has to show him her cell phone. Like, look at my contacts. I have 2 people in my contacts: my job and my mother. I don't like people. I don't want to deal with this. But he wears her down, and reluctantly, she takes his phone number. So, day goes on. She goes to work. She works at a bakery. Now, she's at work, and a regular customer is in there, but he is giving off really, really, like, creepy vibes. He comes in, does a little shopping, leaves. So, time to get off work. She heads out, notices dude across the street. Now she's walking home. He's following her. And of course, very stalking, like he's getting closer. She's panicking. So she dips off into a convenience store. She's panicking. She's like, oh my God, what am I do? What am I going to do? She tries to call her mother. Mother's not answering the phone. Why she's calling the house phone and not her mother's cell phone, I don't know. But she called, her mother did not answer. But whose number does she have? So she calls Kurosawa. He leaves karaoke, runs over to where she's at, like, hey, what's going on? She explains, this guy's following me. Oh my God, I'm creeped out. She's like, well, how long have you been in here? She's like, about 30 minutes. He's like, oh yeah, he's definitely following you. I got this. Purchased something from the counter, put his arm around her. So I got you. They walk outside. They're walking outside. Dude walks up to him like, what's the deal with him? Like, what's going on with him to her? He looks down at her, says, May, I love you, and kisses her. And stares at dude while he does it like, do something. Cuz runs off. And then that's it. So, yeah, that's how the episode goes off actually. Like, but the question is, as we know, should you take the time to watch it? Let's see. In the theme of the month, how am I going to put this for this week? You know what? In the veins of the title of the show, let's go with, you know what? Since you've been around, I've smiled a lot more than I used to. In other words, yes, I thoroughly enjoyed the show. So let's just start at the top here, right? Let's just start at the beginning with the intro. Honestly, didn't care for it at all. It's bland, it's kind of boring, and it does, nothing to get you excited that it's coming on. You know what I mean? Like, it's really nothing there. Only bright side is that it's actually kind of short for an intro. So there's that. But one thing I do want to talk about that I love, that really stood out to me, is the titling of each episode and how it's represented in the show. Like, there's no title of the episode at the beginning of the show. But if you're looking at it like on Crunchyroll, for instance, you'll see the title of each episode, like, tastes like fried chicken, right? So the whole time watching your episode, I'm wondering, how do we get to that title? And it's always the very last thing before the episode goes off. It's something that is said that gives you why the episode was titled that way. It'll fade out to white, put it in black words on the screen, and then go to the end credits. Like, I thoroughly loved it. Like, okay, how are we going to get to this title? Like, with each episode, I thoroughly enjoyed that about it. But on to the cast itself. Look, I had a love-hate relationship with practically the majority of the cast. Like, look, Kurosawa. Like, in the beginning, I was keeping a close eye on Cuz. Like, the way he moved, the way he operated. Like, I didn't know if the stuff he was saying was genuine. Like, just how he maneuvers just wasn't sitting right with me. And it is something that, as you get into his story, I may not agree with it, but I understand why he's that way. Like, understand, he was getting some stuff off in the beginning that was, like, blowing my mind. Specifically, end of episode 2. Like, in the comments, how do you get this off on a woman? I just do not know. Like, it just blew my mind. But also, May, I became more frustrated with her in the latter half of the series. Like, everything she's been through, like, her insecurities would still come out to show, like, in big ways. Like, at this point, like, you haven't realized the people you kind of, have gotten around you now. Like, it's you don't have to worry about that stuff no more. Like you push through it. Like, you're good now. Like, you don't, I understand there's some stuff still there, but it doesn't have to be just so on the surface like that. You know what I mean? So she would frustrate me at times like that. And just the overall supporting cast around them. Like, some of these women were, a word I would use if I was not trying to put this out there for everybody, if you know what I mean. But it's they're just evil. You know what I mean? For a lack of better words. Now, how does it stack up with some of the other things I've seen? It's good. I would definitely recommend it. I do think the first half was much stronger than the latter half, just mainly because the drama and everything happening around in the beginning and the first half of the show just really seemed to hit. And in the second half, it was taken down some. Like, I was no longer, like, pointing at the screen and be like, oh my God, for real? Like, come on. Like, really? Please. Like, I was no longer, like, doing that at the show. So that's why I say that. But overall, I definitely enjoyed myself watching it. I do think the most important thing about the show isn't necessarily the love story itself, but it's the other story being told behind it, about facing your past and being bullied and the insecurities that comes with that, and trying to push through that wall, deal with it, getting on and getting past it and becoming a better person because of it. I think that's just the better, that really, really sticks out heavy in the show. And I think a lot of people going through that type of stuff would really enjoy this show and like it a lot. So like I said, I definitely recommend it. So Let me know in the comments what y'all think. If you dealt with some of the stuff that the characters have dealt with before in the show. And also, please, end of episode 2, Kurosawa, how do you get that off nowadays? Just let me know, because it completely blew my mind. But y'all know what I do. Until next week, I'll let you then. Deuces. What's going on, everybody? Did you enjoy what you saw? Of course you did. So if you want to help us out and support us, here's what you can do. On whatever platform you're currently streaming us on, just like, share, and subscribe. Then head over to patreon.com/loading snacks and become one of our patrons there.